You are listening to Greg and his friends talk sports. 10 to 20 minutes every day, Greg and his friends are talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Producer Susie and I welcome you. I'm your host, Greg Mengel, and this is my new podcast, Greg and His Friends Talk Sports. If you tuned in to hear anything other than girls basketball sectional results, highlights, and commentary, this probably isn't the right day for you to join the podcast. Please hit the like button on your way out. On Sunday, we're going to talk about the girls basketball championships. We're also going to talk about a lot more. So come back tomorrow if you're not into high school girls basketball. But if you are into high school girls basketball, have we got the show for you? My friend and mentor, Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call leader, sports editor Michelle Garmon, will tell you about what went down at the Lapel Sectional. And I spoke with my friend Kyle Williams about what happened to Wapahani. Before we get to that, I want to tell you about what's coming up on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Will Rutherford's Strictly Biased podcast, his Super Bowl preview, about the same time that I released this one, so please go find that. Also, the Fever Report with Michelle and John Robertson is Sunday. The Pacers Report with Mike Rich. And this week we expect to have plenty of guests to discuss the recent trade. That is on Monday. Thanks for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the day after that. The Pacers are an Eastern Conference worst, 13-39 after Friday's 105-99 loss in Milwaukee, a season sweep by the Bucks over the Pacers. The Pacers trailed by as many as 18 points in the fourth quarter. A late run fell short. Andrew Nembhard, 22 points and 8 assists. Jarris Walker, 15 points and 9 rebounds. The Pacers are in Toronto on Sunday afternoon at 3. Might be our first look at the newest Pacer, Ivica Zubac. Also, Mike will join me on Monday to discuss the game in Toronto, whether or not Zubac plays. The Noblesville Boom's winning streak comes to an end on Friday. Their 7-game winning streak comes to an end with a 119-114 loss in Kissimmee against the league-leading Osceola Magic. The Boom led going into the fourth quarter, were outscored 38-28 in the fourth. Gabe McLaughlin, man, he's been on fire. He had 23 points. Noblesville is now 11-7. Now they head to Long Island for a pair of games starting Sunday at 3 o'clock. Girls basketball sectional semifinals, scores and results. We start as we always do in Class 4A. Our local sectionals start at Sectional 7 at McCutcheon. In the first semifinal was Harrison 42-20 over Kokomo. Aaliyah Seismanic, 21 points and 7 rebounds for Harrison. The Wildcats, 7 for 40 from the field. Eliana Stewart led them with 15 points. McCutcheon defeated Jeff 59-54. The Mavericks' third win this season over the Broncos. Jeff had just 5 losses on the year, 3 of them to their rivals. Jeff had a shot to win the game at the buzzer and missed it. Kiara Lipscomb Allen led McCutcheon with 15 points. Jessamaya Layton led all scorers with 33. 20-5, McCutcheon will try to win its third straight sectional championship on Saturday against 9-14 Harrison. The Mavericks beat the Raiders 69-30 in December. Sectional 8 at Carmel, it was the host Greyhounds 57-53 over Zionsville. 29 points for Bella Ramsey, 13 of those in the fourth quarter. Then 7th ranked and back-to-back sectional champion Hamilton Southeastern defeated Noblesville 45-32. The Royals trailed after the first quarter, then outscored the Millers 14-3 in the second. Hamilton Southeastern is going for its third straight sectional championship. It beat Carmel 46-36 on January 2nd. In the southern half of the draw, Sectional 9 at Pendleton, the 10th ranked host Arabians had no problem with Richmond, 84-30. Ada Hupfer had 23, Olivia Jones 21 for the Arabians. That according to Elijah Poe for the Herald Bulletin. Greenfield Central defeated Anderson 53-38. Lawrence Central transfer Riley Schellenberger had 18 points in her first game for the Cougars. She gained eligibility just Wednesday. So it'll be 21-3 Pendleton Heights against 13-11 Greenfield Central for the sectional championship on Saturday. Pendleton Heights is the defending champion and beat Greenfield 61-23 earlier in the season. But of course, the Cougars didn't have Schellenhammer. But this is a really good Pendleton team, and they're probably going to get it done. Sectional 10 at North Central is 5th ranked Lawrence Central, 94-6 over Tech. And there will be a new state champion in Class 4A as Lawrence North was defeated 54-51 by North Central. Sectional 11 at Plainfield, it was number 1 Pike 55-38 over Avon, and number 9 Plainfield defeated number 13 Brownsburg 51-46. Sectional 12 at Center Grove, Franklin Central beat Decatur Central 80-45. And second-ranked Center Grove, the only unbeaten team left in Indiana, beat Southport 66-24. Class 3A, we start with Sectional 22 at Mississinewa, and the host Indians 48-43 over Heritage. Mississinewa's first postseason win in 22 years. That according to Scott Hunt of the Marion Chronicle Tribune. In the second game was Belmont 77-47 over Marion. 5 Braves scored at least 9 points in the win, led by Ashley Blake's 12. And I got that from Sam Frick of A&EC Sports. 31 more points for Naomi Hahn. She now has 1,048 points following her sophomore year at Marion. She's the state's leading scorer at 29.4 points per game. The sectional championship in Mississinewa, it'll be number 5 Belmont against Mississinewa. The Braves are 20-3, the Indians 5-17. Sectional 23 at Western, the host Panthers 52-26 over Logansport. Kaylee Oth 11 points and 7 rebounds for the Panthers. That according to Brian Gaskins of the Kokomo Tribune. And McCutcheon beat Peru 68-56. Ireland Kyle scored 21. Delaney Betzner finished with 17, and Aubrey stole 16 for the Braves. Sectional championship at Western will be 19-5, defending champion McCutcheon against 13-12 Western. Sectional 24 at Yorktown, Delta defeated Jay County 58-49. Addie Barnes had a career-high 25 points, and Jillian Barnes became Delta's all-time leading scorer in the win. She finished with 18. Hallie Schwederman had 23 points for the Patriots, according to Kate Hampton of the Muncie Star Press. And in the second semifinal was Connorsville 47-30 over Yorktown. Addison Jones had 14 points to lead the Spartans. Yorktown's Lily Sylvester had a game-high 15 points and finished her career as Yorktown's all-time leading scorer with 1,221. Thank you, Kate Hampton. The sectional championship at Yorktown will be 16-8 Delta against 18-7 Connorsville. Connorsville is ranked 11th in the state, but Delta beat the Spartans 57-50 earlier this season. The Eagles are defending sectional champions for the first time in 32 years. In the southern half of the draw at Rushville, it was Indian Creek 38-30 over Shelbyville. And a game I said was going to be a great one ended up number 1 Ron Colley 53-16 over New Palestine. The Royals beat the Dragons by just 2 points a couple of weeks ago. It was close early, and then Ron Colley outscored New Pal 20-3 in the second quarter. Saturday's sectional championship at Rushville, it'll be number 1 Ron Colley 23-3 against 12-13 Indian Creek. In Class 2A, Sectional 37 at Benton Central, defending semi-state champion Rensselaer Central takes on the 18-5 and 4-time state champion Bison after the number 2 Rockets beat Seeger 41-26, and Benton Central defeated Delphi 52-46. Sectional 38 at Wabash, the upset of the night. Rochester defeated Lewis Cass 38-36 in double overtime. An absolute thriller with a game-winning half-court shot at the end of the first overtime that came after the buzzer. Presley Johnson had 14 points to lead the Zebras in the upset. There was no upset in the second semifinal. It was number 13 Oak Hill 70-43 over Wabash. Oak Hill will be a favorite in the sectional championship against the 13 and 11 Zebras. Oak Hill beat Rochester in last year's semifinal, but Rochester was also an underdog against Cass. So Sectional 39 at Lapel started with a 45-25 win by Frankton over Tipton. The Eagles' second win this year over Tipton. Macy Curtis was the star for the Eagles, 19 points and 15 rebounds, according to Rob Hunt of the Anderson Herald Bulletin, who was on this very podcast talking girls basketball yesterday. The second semifinal is where the sectional favorites reside, and man, did they show that on Friday. 6th-ranked Lapel led 34-0 after the first quarter and 60-1 at halftime in a 74-10 win over Taylor. Lanaya Wills and Sophie Goodwin combined for 50 first-half points and didn't play after halftime. Goodwin had 16 points in the first quarter, Wills 15 points in the second. It'll be rivals Frankton and Lapel for the sectional championship at Lapel. Frankton is 12-13, Lapel is 20-4. The Bulldogs going for their third sectional championship in the last 4 years. Frankton's last sectional championship came in 2022, and everybody remembers that team. As I discussed with Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader coming up right now, Lapel won huge in the regular season matchup. By the way, the game can be heard and seen on WHBU with Max Gilley and George Brimmer.
Well, Michelle, we're obviously going to be spending most of our time talking about Frankton-Tipton. So let's just get it out of the way. When you talk about domination, that was domination by Lapel.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, it was. Of course, the second half was played under the running clock, and Lapel did not play their starters at all in the second half. So they ended up with 74 points in a 74-10 win. Lanaya Wills and Sophie Goodwin had 50 of those because they had 50 of Lapel's 60 first half points. So they ended up with 50 of Lapel's 74 points.
Just let's be clear real fast. At halftime, they had 50.
At halftime, yes. Wills had 28 points and Goodwin 22.
All right, well, let's talk about Frankton-Tipton and that semifinal tonight.
It was really kind of an ugly first quarter. A lot of turnovers and missed shots by both teams, and it was 5-2. Macy Curtis had all 5 of Frankton's points. She got them on the board just under 4 minutes into the game, and then Mackenzie Farinella tied the score at 2-2, and Curtis hit a 3 to give Frankton a 5-2 lead. Tipton kind of stayed close in the second quarter. Tipton could not hit shots. Frankton struggled, and Tipton got a lot of shots because Frankton struggled to keep Tipton off the offensive glass. And then Ava Higginbotham, a junior for the Lady Devils, who was playing really well tonight on the boards and defensively with a couple deflections and a steal and lots of rebounds. I mean, I think she had 6 rebounds, and that was because she went diving for a loose ball in the second quarter and injured her shoulder and never returned. So she had, in less than 16 minutes, she had like 6 rebounds. So they missed her inside. And then in the second half, Frankton got stronger and better on the boards. Curtis was just really good all night. She ended up with 19 points and I think 13 rebounds. Elena Rash had another nice game for Frankton, and Perkins and Addie Moore and Farrell all hit key shots at different times for the Eagles. Nice job by Frankton to get into the championship game, but the Lady Eagles are going to have to play much sharper, much cleaner than they had the first 2 rounds of the sectional if they want to stay in the game with Lapel.
First time they played each other, Michelle, it was a long time ago. It was 63-18.
Well, here's the thing. I think where Frankton is going to struggle is because Lapel's full court press is just phenomenal because they put Wills at the top of this diamond press or 1-2-2. She's just, Craig, you've seen her play and you've seen her. She's just lanky. She's got a great wingspan. She's very quick and athletic, and I expect Lapel to win Saturday night. I wish the Eagles all the best, but Lapel's a good basketball team, and if Goodwin can continue to contribute like she has the first 2 rounds of the tournament, it gives the Bulldogs a second big-time scorer to go with Wills, which makes them more dangerous the farther they go in the tournament.
And that's really the key we've been talking about for 2 years is, Lania Wills is going to do what she does. They got to get contributions from others, and it seems like they are.
They are. Goodwin's on a tear. She's having a very good sectional. She's a senior. I imagine her and Lania have probably talked a little bit, and they really want to make the most of their senior year.
At Wapahani, as expected, no problem for number 18 Alexandria, the defending sectional champions and heavy favorites in this one. 68-24 over Muncie Burris. The Tigers had 28 points in the second quarter. And in the second semifinal was Wapahani 36, Blackford 19. Nola Baker had 19 points and 5 rebounds for the Raiders, according to the WHS network. Blackford finishes the season 10-13 after winning just 2 games last year. The sectional championship is 19-4 Alexandria against 11-11 Wapahani. And here is my friend Kyle Williams to tell you about what happened on Friday night in Selma.
Welcome, my friend Kyle Williams, an Alexandria girls basketball fan who was at Wapahani on Friday night to watch the semifinals there. And as expected, Kyle, no problem for the Tigers.
No, the Tigers came out and they were kind of looked like they were a little rusty in the first quarter for sure. First half came out and really put it on them in the second quarter and just continued to score in the third. They were led tonight by Layla Dietzer. She had 18 points. Conley Davidson had 14. Daisy Bivens and Kaylin Williams had 9 each.
They were a little rusty early in the game. Good to get it out of the way on Friday night heading into Saturday.
Yeah, they had been about, I think, 8 days since their last game. First game jitters coming into sectional and how much that means to that team to try to go and continue to have success that they've had throughout the season and then just repeat as sectional champions. You got to win that first one, be able to get to the Saturday night game.
Really impressive coaching job by Mickey Hosier this year.
Mickey, I think this team has really surprised a lot of people.
Me?
I think more than you. We graduated, I think it was 53 points last year. Everybody was like, Alexandria is going to be in a rebuilding year this year. I felt like it was going to be more of a reload than a rebuild.
You were right.
And the freshmen have come in and played some good minutes and contributed defensively, scored some points. We had the 2 transfers come in, Grace Wood and Layla Dietzer from Madison Grant and Frankton, and they've really warmed up to our system. We're a defense first. We're going to really go and hound you to death and put a lot of pressure on you and get a lot of turnovers and turn those turnovers into points. Tonight we had 17 points come off the bench. Coming off the bench tonight, Kaylin Williams, I believe was 3 for 5 from 3 and had 9 points. Stella Griffin came in, played solid minutes, had 4. Madison Kistler came in, had 2. and Arya Soper came in there towards the end of the game and was able to drive to the lane and get 2 points real quick.
And on Saturday, Alexandria will be taking on Wapahani for the championship. Tell me about Wapahani's win over Blackford.
Really kind of a turnover-riddled game. Both teams ended up with what I had 20 turnovers each. It was slow scoring, very low scoring game, especially in the first half. Score at halftime was 10-11 Blackford. And then it came out and Blackford was only able to score 1 point in the third quarter, and they just kind of pulled away from there. Wapahani tonight was led in scoring by Nola Baker. She had 19.
So I'm guessing you're thinking fairly easy win for the Tigers on Saturday night.
Well, I hope to see an easy win as an Alexandria fan. But you gotta play every game hard, and you gotta go out there and don't expect to win, but play hard enough to win. I think Alexandria's defense is going to be just too much for these Wapahani girls. Wapahani is a real young team also. We can just hope that Alexandria can score a lot of points off those turnovers.
Kyle Williams, thank you so much. We hope to hear from Kyle as Alexandria advances through the tournament. Thanks so much, Kyle.
Thanks, Greg.
Staying in Class 2A, Sectional 42 at Park Tudor. It'll be 10-11 University against 19-5 Monrovia for the sectional title. The Blazers beat Covenant Christian 49-38. Sydney Culp 24 points for University, including 7 for 7 from the foul line in the fourth quarter, according to Dave Carson. Sectional 44 at Hagerstown. It was Union County 46-14 over the host Tigers. And Shenandoah defeated Centerville 41-20. The 15-9 Raiders will take on 13-10 Union County. The Patriots beat Shenandoah 50-44 on December 6th. And another defending state champion went down in Sectional 47 at Eastern Green. Number 4 North Knox upset number 3 South Knox, the defending state champions, 72-48. And of course, there will be no defending state champion in 3A because Norwell had to move up. So Borden, you are the only team left with a chance to defend your sectional championship. And in Class A, it was Clinton Central 49-27 over Frontier, and Carroll 70-23 over Bethesda Christian. 19-5 Clinton Central against 17-6 Carroll for the sectional championship. The Cougars beat Clinton Central 38-30 in the regular season, but the Bulldogs have already avenged an earlier loss by beating number 8 Rushville in the sectional opener. Should be a great one. Sectional 55 at Southern Wells was North Miami 47-40 over Northfield, and Southwood beat Southern Wells 50-47. So it'll be 16-8 defending sectional champion North Miami against 14-8 Southwood for the sectional championship. The Knights beat North Miami 50-35 in the second game of the season. Sectional 56 at Union City was Monroe Central 35-33 over Randolph Southern. The Bears' third win this year over the Rebels, but this one was much, much closer. And Union City beat Blue River Valley 45-22. So it'll be 19-2 Monroe Central against 5-14 Union City for the sectional championship. Monroe Central won the regular season matchup on December 3rd, 51-34. I really am going to have to say this podcast is 20-30 rather than 10-20. Oh well, I kind of thought it might happen. And sectional 57 at Broad Ripple, it was Tinley 58-13 over Indiana Def, and Anderson Prep 51-32 over Purdue Broad Ripple. Sectional championship at Broad Ripple will be 15-5, the sectional favorite Tinley, against 19-4, the defending champion Anderson Prep. And Borden beat Henryville 63-42 and will take on 15-8 Christian Academy for their sectional championship on Saturday. And as I mentioned, they are the only defending state champions left. The two teams played a really good game in the regular season too. And Carson Casey, one of the all-time Borden greats, is now coaching at Christian Academy. She and her brother Hayden, who was the boys coach until last year at Christian Academy, are two of my all-time favorites. In men's college basketball, Valparaiso outscored visiting Evansville 12-5 in overtime for a 70-63 victory on Friday. The Crusaders are now 12-12. And a couple of sad notes. Lee Hamilton, former Indiana U.S. Senator, once rumored to be the VP pick for Bill Clinton, and basketball star at Evansville Central, has passed away, as has former Purdue basketball star Porter Roberts, who was on 3 Big Ten championships under Gene Cady. Quickly coming up on Saturday, 15-8, Indiana hosts 16-6 Wisconsin in just a few hours at noon. The Badgers are still in the Big Ten race at 8-3. It's what our Purdue guy Jake Dunn calls a peer group game. Important to win those. ESPN Analytics says IU has a 69% chance of winning it. Our IU guys Grant Schaus and or Mike Hutzel will be on Sunday's podcast to react to the game. And we'll also have an IU report on Tuesday where we'll talk IU basketball, and certainly we will talk some IU football as we've done every week for a long time. That game is on Fox. A rarity, number 12 Purdue will be playing at the same time as the Hoosiers. In my lifetime, it hasn't happened very often. Their schedules are almost always avoid conflict of playing at the same time. And both games are on national television. The Boilermakers host Oregon at 1 o'clock on CBS. This is not a peer group game. Purdue is 18-4. The Ducks are 8-14. ESPN Analytics says 95% chance for Purdue, so they better win. The big one in the Big Ten on Saturday is at 8 o'clock on Fox. Number 5 Illinois at number 10 Michigan State. The Illini are on top of the Big Ten at 11-1, tied with number 2 Michigan. The Spartans are 9-3 in league play following an upset loss at Minnesota. They are in 4th place. Butler and Marquette are trying to stay out of the bottom of the Big East. They play each other in Milwaukee at 2 o'clock on FS1. ESPN Analytics gives the edge to the Bulldogs, but only slightly. In the ACC, Notre Dame hosts Florida State at 4. If you have nothing better to do, you can just sit around and watch men's college basketball teams from Indiana play from noon to about 6 o'clock. Both Notre Dame and Florida State are under 500. In the NAIA, number 24 Taylors at Marion at 1, number 5 Indiana Wesleyan at Spring Arbor at 3, and number 1 Grace is at Mount Vernon Nazarene. Division 3, Anderson's at Rose Holman in a big win in the Heartland. There's a 4-way tie at the top of the HCAC. The Ravens and Engineers are 2 of them. Franklin is a game back and is at Mount St. Joseph, another team tied for first. The other is Transylvania, and they host Bluffton. Also on Saturday, Swimming Sectional Finals at Hamilton Southeastern, Carmel, Jay County, New Palestine, Lafayette, Jeff, Crawfordsville, Plainfield, Decatur Central, Lawrence North, and Franklin. Wrestling Regionals at Pendleton Heights, Peru, Jay County, North Montgomery, and Perry Meridian. We will have the results of all of those on what will be an incredibly busy Saturday. Also on Saturday, a handful of boys basketball games. Here are some in our area. 13-2 Sheridan at 8-8 Alexandria at 1:30. 4-12 West Dell at 3-11 Madison Grant at 2:30. At 12:30, it's 9-7 Delta at 5-11 Mississinewa. It's 6-10 Western at 2-12 Mechanicawa at 12:30. 9-7 Easterns at 1-14 Northfield at 2:30. 12-3 Northwestern goes to 4-11 Pioneer for a 1:30 tip. 13-2 Shenandoah hosts 14-4 Randolph Southern. Should be a really good one. That is at 1:30. 9-5 Anderson's at 9-7 North Central at 2:30. 4-10 Marion visits 5-11 Wabash at 1:30. 7-9 Center Grove at 8-9 Noblesville at 2:30. And Hamilton Heights goes for its 10th straight win at home against 9-9 Winchester at 2:30. The Huskies started their season 0-7 and have won 9 in a row since then. Super Bowl 60 is Sunday. Go check out our preview of the Strictly Biased podcast with Will Rutherford right now. Spoiler, we pick different teams. Thanks so much for listening. Please join us again tomorrow. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. I love Susie.